Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All-Star Wrestling Volume 2, the second super show from All-Star Wrestling South. And it is time for, dare I say, a little bit of excellence, a little bit of class to enter the Studio Theatre here in Salisbury, sold out standing room only, to see some of the best professional wrestling that Britain could ever possibly bring to you. And if you haven't seen this young gentleman before, well, you are in for a treat. The Regal One himself, a man of pure excellence, a man of wealth, dignity and taste, at least in his own mind, Alexander Moore. Refreshingly excellent, particularly in his own eyes. And if you don't believe me, just ask the man himself and he'll let you know exactly what he thinks of you. And I can guarantee you it will most likely be a very negative response in rebuttal to your question, demanding, by the way, that referee Sean Riley pull down the ropes for him. A man who has been likened to a number of excellent individuals, including Bobby Roode, Ric Flair himself. And this man certainly has the prowess, the dignity and the acumen of an individual who could do very well and flourish within this sport.
Shut up, you're lucky you've even got someone like me here.
And I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander Moore believes himself to be above the peasants of Salisbury.
And introducing his opponent.
Big money Bobby Vegas, our MC this evening. No doubt a man with a very similar mentality, but if you want to talk about a man of the people, here comes true British excellence. The icon, the British legend, James Mason. For over 25 years, technical excellence personified. One of the pillars of excellence. One of the men who has helped keep British wrestling afloat. And now he's leading the charge as it flourishes beyond any doubt within anyone's mind. James Mason, a true British throwback classic for the modern era. And as we head into 2024, James Mason still at the height of his abilities. James Mason will be going one-on-one momentarily with Alexander Moore. You can hear the love here. Last time out, he faced Joel Redman in an excellent match, which was unfortunately cut short due to an injury suffered by James Mason during that matchup, a freak occurrence. It's over to Bobby Vegas for the announcements. And look at that, James Mason, so popular indeed, he set off the fire alarm.
Who burned the toast this time? Just keep going. Okay, fine. Introducing first on my left. Hailing from Royal Windsor, weighing in at 15 stone. He is the self-proclaimed King of the Mat. This is Alexander Moore. And introducing his opponent on my right, hailing from London, weighing in at 16 stone, this is the prolific James Mason!
Are we ready to smack him in his mouth?
James Mason seems ready, that's for sure. And as we mentioned, the prolific one himself, James Mason. That is the understatement of the year, ladies and gentlemen. James Mason, what a superstar. And he's facing the self-proclaimed king of the mat. But if anyone can lay claim to such a moniker, surely it would be James Mason. If there's a hold that James Mason doesn't know in professional wrestling, then frankly, it's not worth using in the first place. And this crowd are all over Alexander Moore. The people of Salisbury have no interest in the regal pomposity of Alexander Moore, who's just disrespected James Mason with a shove in the chest, and that is not advisable by any means, not to mention, frankly, sacrilege in the sacred squared circle that we call the wrestling ring, and James Mason is certainly not going to stand for that, and off we go, counters the punch with a lovely headlock, and now just, James Mason quickens the pace, ducks under the leapfrog and counters that hit toss with relative ease and takes Alexander Moore over. You're not going to win a standard wrestling match against James Mason, pal, and the sooner you learn that, the better. James Mason, I think, is looking forward to knocking Alexander Moore's block off, and that will certainly help. A stiff right hand to the temple of Alexander Moore, and another one. You're going to perforate an eardrum if you hit him that hard. Maybe some people might argue he deserves it. And now Alexander Moore sent headfirst into the turnbuckle. And it is hard not to enjoy James Mason at work. Wow, nothing fancy or technical about that. Just a stiff right hand. And there we get the MO of James Mason, asking this audience, should he break the arm? Oh my God, look at the contortion in the wrist and the fingers. And Alexander Moore, the arm is not meant to bend that way, but it well and truly is pretzel time when James Mason is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, James Mason being backed into the corner now by Alexander Moore. Very smart, to be fair. Good ring awareness and unnecessary and a cheap shot to boot. That throat thrust into James Mason now. A European uppercut and a back elbow. And Alexander Moore looking to take advantage. Drives James Mason right into the middle turnbuckle. You could see the angle, and it's still favouring that left arm, and rightfully so. And James Mason very smart there. No wasted motion. Not even allowing a pinfall attempt. Ring awareness.
You're talking about him. You're talking about him.
Wow, that is a vicious mean streak from Alexander Moore. He might be the king of the mat, but right now he's the king of the brawl, and he's looking to really hurt James Mason here. And this crowd are all over Alexander Moore, and if anything, that's just motivating him. James Mason already. I don't think Sean Riley was able to see. But James Mason had his shoulder up off again. Now James Mason looking for any excuse to escape. Wow, just a rising knee lift right into the chin of Alexander Moore. How do you like that, sunshine? Many men have tried to take the throne of James Mason, but man, Alexander Moore, he's going to have to do better than that. He's going to need a lot more. And very smart, cutting James Mason off with a headbutt to the midsection.
How dare you trip this old man?
Well, he might be an old man in terms of Alexander Moore's age, but James Mason, he's British royalty, and Alexander Moore would do well to have some respect for James Mason. Now, people will tell once again, and again, bad ring position. It has to be said, Alexander Moore is getting a lesson here in the ring awareness and the expertise of what James Mason brings to the table, because it's not just the ability to out-wrestle most men, it's the ability to escape from any position. As we know, James Mason can find a room in a phone box, ladies and gentlemen. The Houdini of professional wrestling. Oh, wow, did you see that? Beautiful athleticism, floats right over the sunset. Flip 2 count only. Alexander Moore was caught flush, but he's going back to that, now looking to cravat the left ankle of James Mason. For a moment there, you might have noticed the left, there it is right there, the left foot of Alexander Moore applying pressure on the right leg of James Mason, therefore not allowing him the ability to escape or use that other leg to counter the torque on the ankle and the knee. And James Mason looks to be in a little bit of trouble here. I think he was potentially looking for a figure four, now just gonna lock up the leg. And see there again, that's why you have to isolate that leg. But Alexander Moore throwing himself back and creating a lot of torque on the left knee of James Mason. That's one way to slow him down. Ground the technical excellence of him, and a scoop slam will certainly help his cause. Now Alexander Moore exposing that right knee, no doubt looking to drive it into the face of James Mason, who's able to roll out of the way, and that is bad news for Alexander Moore, because if you're going to expose your knee like that, if you don't get all of it, you could cause serious damage to your own kneecap. James Mason builds up a head of steam with a clothesline once again, and now looking for a big old scoop slam. Pinfall combination, 2 count only on Alexander Moore. But James Mason wants more. This crowd, they want more. And James Mason now is cooking at the expense of Alexander Moore. Irish whip into the corner. No wasted motion, but he's caught with a back elbow coming in. Alexander Moore. And oh, wow. Deep hip toss takes him up and over. James Mason, beautiful running senton splash. That'll be, oh no, down. Oh my God. And I think Alexander Moore, dare I say, was able to just get his shoulder off the canvas. Referee Sean Riley says 2 count only. That hasn't deterred James Mason. Another scoop slam, and I think he's going to look to finish the job and put an exclamation point on it with yet another gorgeous flipping senton, and that will be that. James Mason with yet another dub in the column.
Here is your winner, the prolific James Mason.